The most nutrient-dense foods on Earth have almost no carbohydrates. And the foods your government told you to eat at every meal have almost no nutrients worth measuring. 7 foods that deliver zero meaningful carbohydrate load and the highest concentration of bioavailable vitamins, minerals, and fat-soluble nutrients available anywhere in the food supply, including the one shellfish that contains more zinc per gram than any supplement ever manufactured, and the animal food that has been the most nutrient-dense item in the human diet for 2 million years. We will also get to why there is no such thing as an essential dietary carbohydrate, and what that means for every chronic disease your doctor is managing with medication instead of food. Think about the last meal that genuinely sustained you for 4 or more hours without hunger, brain fog, or an energy crash. What was in it? There are 8 essential amino acids, 2 essential fatty acids, 13 essential vitamins, and 15 essential minerals. The number of essential carbohydrates is 0. Your liver runs a continuous process called gluconeogenesis, synthesizing glucose from amino acids and glycerol whenever blood glucose drops. It does this automatically, without dietary carbohydrate input, in every person on Earth. A 2018 review in the European Journal of Clinical Nutrition confirmed that gluconeogenesis fully maintains brain glucose supply in adults on ketogenic diets below 20 grams of carbohydrate per day, indefinitely, without deficit. Your brain does not need you to eat carbohydrates. It needs your liver to function. This changes the entire framework for evaluating food. If carbohydrates are optional, the question is whether their nutritional contribution justifies the insulin response they trigger. No essential carbohydrate exists. Every gram is a choice, not a requirement. Picture your pancreas 2 hours after a meal of butter, olive oil, and fatty meat. Nothing happens. No insulin spike, no glucose surge. The pancreas is quiet, because pure dietary fat triggers an insulin response so close to 0 it does not register on standard measurement. This matters because chronic insulin elevation drives type 2 diabetes, visceral fat accumulation, and cardiovascular disease. A 2020 meta-analysis in Diabetes Care, reviewing 102 randomized controlled trials, found that reducing dietary carbohydrate, not fat, produced the most significant reductions in fasting insulin, HbA1c, and triglycerides across all interventions tested. Pure fats contain 0 carbohydrates and produce 0 insulin response. They are the only macronutrient that allows insulin to return to its fasting baseline after a meal. Eat fat. Give your pancreas a rest. A bowl of fortified breakfast cereal contains synthetic B12, iron oxide, and retinyl palmitate, added back after the grain was stripped of everything useful. A 100-gram serving of beef liver contains the active forms of the same nutrients at concentrations no fortified product has matched. The distinction is bioavailability. Synthetic folic acid requires conversion by an enzyme called MTHFR, and approximately 40% of the population carries a variant that reduces that conversion by up to 70%, per research in the American Journal of Human Genetics in 2015. Liver delivers folate already converted, immediately usable by every cell. A 2019 analysis in Nutrients found that 100 grams of beef liver met or exceeded the recommended daily intake for vitamin A, B12, riboflavin, folate, copper, and selenium simultaneously. Liver is the food everything else is trying to replicate. 1 egg contains every fat-soluble vitamin, every essential amino acid, in ratios matching human muscle tissue more closely than any plant protein. Choline for neuronal membrane structure, and lutein for macular protection. It registers near 0 on any glycemic measure. The yolk is where all of it lives. A 2020 study in Nutrients found that whole egg consumption significantly increased plasma choline, lutein, and zeaxanthin compared to egg white consumption, and that yolk fat was required for absorption of the fat-soluble vitamins it contained. Research in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition in 2018 tracking 177,000 adults across 50 countries, found no significant association between egg consumption and cardiovascular events at any intake level. The egg white omelet is a protein delivery system. The whole egg is a nutritional system. Eat the yolk. That is where the food is. Halfway through, and we have not yet touched the shellfish that delivers more zinc per gram than any supplement, the cheese that keeps calcium out of your arteries, or why the leafy vegetables on this list have a net glycemic impact of functionally 0. If this is changing how you think about your plate, subscribe. Every week we go deeper into the food science that dietary guidelines were never designed to tell you. Stay with us. A single 100-gram serving of oysters delivers approximately 39 milligrams of zinc, more than 3 times the recommended daily intake, along with selenium, copper, B12, and omega-3 fatty acids in highly bioavailable form. Why does zinc matter specifically? A 2021 review in the International Journal of Molecular Sciences identified zinc as a direct regulator of insulin receptor signaling. Adequate zinc improves cellular insulin sensitivity independently of carbohydrate intake. It also supports testosterone synthesis and immune function through pathways no other mineral replicates at the same concentration. Oysters are virtually carbohydrate-free and deliver this profile in 4 to 6 pieces. The most zinc-dense food on earth fits in your palm. Eat it weekly. In the 1930s, dentist Weston Price traveled to 14 isolated populations documenting a consistent pattern. The healthiest bones and cardiovascular profiles belong to populations consuming large amounts of traditionally fermented, full-fat dairy, specifically raw cheese. What Price observed was vitamin K2. Raw cheese from grass-fed sheep and goats is among the most concentrated dietary sources of menaquinone 7. The K2 form that directs calcium into bone and out of arterial walls. A 2019 meta-analysis in Nutrients found that higher K2 intake was independently associated with reduced arterial calcification and lower cardiovascular mortality. Pasteurization degrades K2 significantly. Raw cheese is a cardiovascular intervention with a rind. The total carbohydrate figure on a spinach label includes fiber, and the fiber in spinach, kale, arugula, and bok choy ferments in the colon rather than converting to blood glucose. Net glycemic impact? Functionally 0. But the reason these vegetables belong here is not just what they lack. Spinach delivers 157 milligrams of magnesium per 100 grams, a mineral functioning as a cofactor in over 300 enzymatic reactions, including ATP production and insulin receptor activation. A 2013 meta-analysis in Diabetic Medicine, reviewing data from 536,000 participants, found that each 100 milligram increase in daily magnesium intake was associated with a 19% reduction in type 2 diabetes risk. Eat the leaves. The fiber buffers sugar, and magnesium does the rest. The USDA dietary guidelines recommend 6 to 11 daily servings of grain as the dietary foundation. This list recommends 0. The difference in insulin exposure between those two approaches, sustained over 10 years, is the difference between metabolic resilience and metabolic disease. A 2020 study in the British Medical Journal, following 37,233 adults over 11 years, found that fiber from whole food sources, not grain, was associated with significantly lower all-cause mortality, while refined grain consumption showed no protective effect. The 7 foods here collectively deliver complete protein, every fat-soluble vitamin, every essential mineral, and 0 blood sugar disruption. The guidelines built a sick population. This list builds a different one. Choose the list that matches the outcome you want. These 7 foods share 2 properties: near 0 carbohydrate load and the highest bioavailable nutrient density available in any food supply on Earth. They are not a diet trend. They are the baseline human metabolism was built around for 2 million years, before the grain industry spent 50 years convincing the world otherwise. Fats, meats, organ meats, eggs, shellfish, raw cheese, and leafy greens. That is the entire framework.